Got another beautiful sunny day in Finland. Deep blue sky, and the sea looks pretty tempting as well. Over there in the distance you might be able to see some yachts. That's the yachting club in Pori. Sailing's quite a popular hobby, not only in Pori but Rauma, the next town down the coast. But I'm not here to talk about that. What I am here for is to talk about solutions, and the title of this video is going to be "Nothing Changes Until We Change This." So for those that don't know, I used to be a teacher, so one of the phrases that you would hear a lot from students who'd done something wrong or not done something that they should have done was, "It's not my fault." And really what I've learned over the last sort of 4 years is that most adults are not too dissimilar. They will try to blame other people and other things for what really are just a consequence of their own actions or inactions. It's not my fault. No, and actually it is their fault. It's all down to them through their actions or inactions. They made what they're moaning about happen through what they did or what they didn't do but should have done. So a while back now I did a video about natural law, and one of the points that I wanted to communicate was that actions have consequences. So why did what happened 4 years ago happen? The simple answer is that too many of us basically behaved completely immorally. 70% of the population put their creature comforts before any notion of morality. Now, I have been through this in terms of natural law, like which aspects of natural law were broken by which people, when. So I'm not going to go through that again because it would be repetitive. But what I am going to do is to address this issue through some words written in a book. Before I do that though, you can check out this scenery. There's quite a big freshwater lake, but it's quite unusual in that it's only about, 100 meters away from the sea. I'm still no way near being bored of the nature here or the changes in the seasons and what it brings. I found myself a nice seat, and the view ain't too shabby either. Lovely beach. I don't think I've been to this one and videoed before. It's really nice, but apparently it's relatively dangerous to swim because of the tides or the currents. So I'll just read this. Hopefully the wind won't blow too hard, but it says, this is from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 13. "You are like salt for the whole human race, but if salt loses its saltiness, there's no way to make it salty again. It has become worthless, so it's thrown out and people trample on it. You are like light for the whole world. A city built on a hill cannot be hidden. No one lights a lamp and puts it under a bowl. Instead, he puts it on the lampstand where it gives light for everyone in the house. In the same way, your light must shine before people, so that they will see the good things you do and praise your Father in heaven." This is going to be an unpalatable message, especially for agnostics and let alone atheists, in that all of this that you can see all around you is not an accident. We have a creator, and his patience is not unlimited, and there are also consequences for our actions and inactions. So what's the problem? The reason why we're in such a mess at the moment is that too many of us have lost our saltiness. We're no longer behaving as we should behave according to what Jesus in this passage refers to as the law. Teaching about the law. So do you think that I've come to do away with the law of Moses and the teachings of the prophets. We'll just stop there. So obviously the teachings of Moses, well, Moses is most famous for bringing down the tablets from the mountain with the 10 commandments on them, and that is what Jesus is referring to when he talks about the law, the 10 commandments, which are really not too different from what the 7 principles of natural law. Don't murder people, don't physically assault people, don't lie and deceive people, don't steal other people's stuff, etc. Jesus continues, I've not come to do away with them, but to make their teachings come true. Remember that as long as heaven and earth last, not the least point nor the smallest detail of the law will be done away with, not until the end of all things. So then, whoever disobeys even the least important of the commandments and teaches others to do the same will be least in the kingdom of heaven. On the other hand, whoever obeys the law and teaches others to do the same will be great in the kingdom of heaven. I tell you then that you will be able to enter the kingdom of heaven only if you are more faithful than the teachers of the law and the Pharisees in doing what God requires. I know this is again going to upset people, but particularly those people who call themselves Christians, who are really what you might call Paulians. They follow the apostle Paul of Saros rather than Jesus Christ. Because what Jesus is basically saying now in that last passage that I've read through is that your actions and the way that you live your life matter. So again, there's a direct link back to natural law. Actions have consequences. What happened in 2020, the terrible things that happened in 2021, 2022, still going on now, is a direct consequence of far too many of us, the human race, embracing immorality and choosing our creature comforts rather than taking moral courses of action. And of course, the reason why people eschew choosing a moral course of action is because that might involve having to give up some of their ego, status, or the creature comforts that can be bought with their income from work. And that's too big a price for them to give up. But until we actually fix this problem, we ain't going nowhere. Things won't improve until we decide to amend our own behaviour. So that, this morning I had an interesting comment on my YouTube channel. Can't remember under which video it was now, but basically somebody like saying, the solution is that we need Swiss-style direct democracy. So if you're still advocating for that, you really are beyond hope, basically, because it doesn't matter what type of government it is, whether it's like a British-style parliamentary democracy or whether it's Swiss-style direct democracy. The fundamental problem is that government is based around compelled exchange, and that compulsion is backed up through coercion, backed up through violence or the threat of violence. So if you don't comply with what the government tells you to do, if you don't pay them the money that they say you owe them, ultimately people will use violence against you, employed by the state, and throw you away in a cage, lock you up in a cage, hold you hostage until you pay the ransom money, i.e. you pay them the tax that you owe. Now that is utterly immoral. It's breaking one of the principles of natural law, don't steal, and it's also breaking one of the 10 commandments, what Jesus was referring to a minute ago as the law, which is thou shalt not steal. And this is what people are doing. They are still advocating for something that is completely immoral, which is the use of force to take something that doesn't belong to them so it can be given to somebody else. And it's completely immoral. And the most immoral people of the lot are the socialists, that argue that that they're good people because they're advocating for violence or the threat of it, to take something that doesn't belong to them in order for them to enjoy it, or for one of the people that they deem to be deserving to enjoy it. No different from what Adolf Hitler actually was advocated for, you know, steal from the Jews so that it can be redistributed to deserving Aryans. Completely and utterly immoral. And when people go along with immorality, bad things happen. You know, people get the salt loses its saltiness, and God's patience isn't infinite. That salt is worthless and it's cast out, and it's good for trampling on, and that's it. If that sounds brutal, well then tough, you know, because the world isn't. Well, let's put it this way: God is somebody to respect, our Creator, our Father in heaven, and you can't expect to make conscious decisions to behave immorally or to embrace immorality without there being some pretty horrible adverse consequences. So we don't solve this until people rediscover morality and start to prioritize morals, even if it means having to give things up. So, you know, for example, during the peasants' pantomime, you know, I have people saying, "Oh, I couldn't have done this. I'd have lost my job. I'd have had to have lived in a smaller house or whatever. I'd have had to have taken the kids out of the private school. You know, what? It's too big a price to pay." Until that attitude changes, until people are willing to take the moral course of action, even to the point where they lose their own life as a result of it, then nothing will change. And it's our fault. And we can't, you know, there's no point in blaming God for it, because it's our own actions. And what we're suffering from is a consequence of our own actions. And that's all I want to say today. So God bless.